The Ashanti, gold, kings, and the power of the stool. What if a single golden stool held the soul of an entire nation? What if a queen mother's war cry could shake an empire? What if the richest goldfields in history fueled an African superpower until the world came to take it? This is the epic of the Ashanti, brought to you by Mr. Africa, a kingdom forged in fire, gold, and unbreakable spirit. A people who built an empire so mighty, even the British trembled to fight them. A sacred stool that fell from the sky and became the heartbeat of a civilization. From the genius of Osei Tutu to the fury of Yaa Asantewaa, this is the untold saga of warriors, wealth, and a resistance that refused to die. Only on Mr. Africa, where legends rise. Chapter 1. The rise of a golden kingdom long before the modern nation-state of Ghana claimed its independence from colonial rule. The Ashanti, or Asante people, were already building an empire of astonishing scale, complexity, and influence. The late 17th century was a tumultuous and perilous epoch for the Akan clans. Scattered across the dense, forested interior of what is now contemporary Ghana, these disparate chiefdoms found themselves locked in a brutal struggle for survival. They faced constant threats, relentless raids and military incursions from more very powerful established states like Denkira, which often demanded crippling tributes, debilitating internal feuds that fragmented their strength, and intense economic rivalries over dwindling access to vital trade routes that crisscrossed the region. Disunity in such a hostile environment was a luxury they could no longer afford. True survival, true prosperity, demanded an unprecedented level of cohesion and centralized power. From this desperate landscape, a figure of extraordinary vision and strategic brilliance emerged. Osei Tutu, the future first Ashanti, who began his rise as the chief of the small state of Kumasi. He was more than a mere military leader. He was a political architect, endowed with a singular genius for both diplomacy and warfare. But Osei Tutu possessed an even more potent, almost mystical asset, a powerful legendary ally in Okomfo Anokye, a high priest, whose spiritual abilities were whispered to defy the very laws of nature, capable of summoning rains or bending spirits to his will. Together, this formidable duo orchestrated a monumental transformation. Osei Tutu, through a combination of shrewd political alliances, strategic marriages, and decisive military campaigns, such as the pivotal victory over the powerful Denkira kingdom, began welding these fragmented Akan clans into a formidable nascent confederation. Simultaneously, Okomfo Anokye, with his unparalleled spiritual authority, wove a profound tapestry of shared spiritual mysticism. He introduced new rituals, reorganized traditional beliefs, and instilled a sense of common destiny, binding these once fragmented peoples with an unshakable shared identity and purpose. Yet even with such extraordinary leadership, military might, and spiritual guidance, the fledgling union still required something more. It demanded an indestructible, tangible symbol, an artifact so sacred, so profoundly significant, that it could transcend all lingering tribal loyalties and unite them irrevocably as one people under one destiny. Chapter 2. Soul of a Nation. The stage was set. The year was approximately 1701, in a ceremony of unparalleled, almost cosmic significance, held amidst a gathering of paramount chiefs and their awestruck people in Kumasi, the burgeoning capital. The high priest Okomfo Anokye stood ready. The air was thick with anticipation, charged with spiritual energy, as the most sacred and widely accepted legends recount, amidst a swirling, ethereal mist that seemed to part the very heavens. A stool not of earthly wood or metal, but of pure radiant gold descended. It did not crash. It did not plummet with destructive force. Instead, it drifted gently, majestically, as if guided by an invisible hand, to rest not on the earth, which would have defiled it, but directly upon the lap of Osei Tutu, then the Kumasi. This was no mere carved wooden seat or a ceremonial throne. This was the Sika Dwa Kofi, the Friday-born Golden Stool, for it was said to have descended on a Friday. Okomfo Anokye immediately declared it the divine embodiment, the very soul or sunsum of the entire Ashanti nation. It was not crafted by human hands. He proclaimed it was a miraculous gift from the cosmos, a sacred vessel holding the collective spirit, the accumulated wisdom, the hopes, and the very destinies of every Ashanti, past, present, and yet to come. Its sanctity is absolute, its reverence unparalleled. The golden stool must never touch the bare ground. It rests always upon its own finely woven mat, especially consecrated cloth, or a royal elephant hide. It must never be sat upon by any mortal, not even the most revered Asantewaa, for it is believed to contain the souls of all deceased Ashanti rulers and the collective spirit of the living. Its power, its spiritual essence, surpasses that of any king, any warrior, any living soul. To capture it, to defile it, or to allow it to be captured, would be to utterly extinguish the Ashanti spirit, to sever the vital connection between the living, the dead, and the future generations. To this very day, it remains perpetually shrouded from common sight, protected with fierce, ancestral devotion, brought out only during the most sacred and profound national rituals, like the Akwesida festival. It is not merely an antique, a historical relic, or a piece of royal furniture. It is a living, pulsating spiritual heart, perpetually safeguarding the soul of the Ashanti people, an eternal testament to their unbreakable cultural and spiritual fortitude. Chapter 3. The Asantewaa. At the very apex of this formidable Ashanti Empire, reigning from the grandeur of his Manhia Palace in Kumasi, stood the Asantewaa, the Ashanti king. He was far more than a temporal ruler or a political figurehead. He was a sacred guardian, the living embodiment of Ashanti culture, the ultimate arbiter of justice, and the supreme custodian of ancient tradition. His authority radiated from every aspect of his being, from his ceremonial attire to his pronouncements in council. Within the hallowed halls of Manhia Palace, centuries of meticulously preserved royal regalia gleaming golden swords like the Impompensu, signifying supreme judicial power, vast, intricately embroidered ceremonial umbrellas that symbolized his protective shade over the entire kingdom, intricately carved elephant tusks representing strength and wisdom, and the eloquent linguist staffs, or Okaim staffs, each adorned with proverbs, signifying the wisdom and rhetorical skill of his spokesmen, still echo the profound grandeur and spiritual authority that characterized the empire. The Ashanti system of governance was a sophisticated paradox, a decentralized network of autonomous chiefdoms, harmonized by an unyielding central allegiance to the Asantewaa, and more profoundly, to the Golden Stool. Paramount chiefs and sub-chiefs wielded significant autonomy within their own Aman states or villages, administering justice and collecting tribute, yet each was bound by an unbreakable oath of loyalty, a solemn allegiance sworn on their own black stools, which represented the souls of their ancestors, to the Golden Stool, and by extension, to the Asantewaa. This intricate web of allegiances created a powerful, unified federal structure. The king's authority was dual-faceted, a seamless fusion of astute political acumen and profound spiritual responsibility. He possessed the formidable power to declare war and command the army, to broker intricate peace treaties, to settle the most complex and sensitive disputes within his vast domain, and to preside over vital national festivals. Among these, the vibrant Akwesida festival was paramount. Held every 42 days, it was a day for deep spiritual reflection, where ancestors were not just remembered, but powerfully honored through libations and offerings, and the unity of the Ashanti nation was ritually renewed, solidifying the bonds that held the empire together. Yet, even the all-powerful Asantewaa, whose every word carried immense weight, and whose every gesture was observed with reverence, understood his place. He, too, must symbolically bow before one supreme, untouchable entity, the Golden Stool. It remains the ultimate authority, the eternal, true king, forever holding the ultimate spiritual sovereignty. Chapter 4. The Empire of Gold. The astonishing success and enduring power of the Ashanti Kingdom, the very engine that drove its expansion and influenced its intricate diplomacy, can be distilled into a single, glittering word: gold. The Asante state sat strategically atop some of West Africa's most staggeringly rich alluvial and lode goldfields, particularly in regions like Obusi and Kanango. From these fertile grounds, Ashanti artisans ascended to become unparalleled master goldsmiths, transforming raw gold extracted through meticulous panning in rivers and rudimentary mining into intricate, breathtaking works of art, symbolic regalia, and a standardized form of currency. Gold dust itself was meticulously weighed, using finely crafted brass weights, and used as the primary medium of exchange, its shimmering grains flowing through the veins of their sophisticated economy. Every Ashanti noble, every chief, Every royal family member adorned themselves with its resplendent luster, signifying status and wealth. Even the most diminutive golden trinket, like an Adinkra symbol on a ring, carried profound spiritual or social meaning. This legendary abundance of Ashanti gold became a powerful magnet, drawing European traders to the Gold Coast like moths to a flame. The Portuguese were among the first, establishing trading posts factories in the 15th century, driven by the insatiable European demand for bullion. They were followed swiftly by the Dutch, who eventually ousted them, and, most decisively, by the increasingly ambitious and technologically superior British. These European powers, primarily operating from coastal forts like Elmina and Cape Coast Castle, sought direct access to the interior goldfields, often bypassing intermediary coastal states. Gold was not merely extracted from the earth, it was ritualized in sacred ceremonies, believed to be intrinsically linked to the ancestors. It was weaponized in diplomatic negotiations, used to fund armies and secure alliances, and it was monetized to fuel a vast, intricate trade network that stretched far beyond their borders. Beyond gold, the Ashanti economy thrived on other valuable commodities. Kola nuts, highly prized for their stimulant properties and cultural significance, which formed a vital part of the trans-Saharan trade network, linking them to North Africa. Finely woven textiles, products of skilled craftsmanship, and tragically, a significant involvement in the transatlantic and trans-Saharan slave trade. While abhorrent by modern standards, the sale of captives from their conquered territories was a brutal reality of the era, fueling wealth and power for many powerful African states, including the Ashanti. Their wealth was undeniable, their coffers overflowing with the radiant metal. Yet, this very wealth, this glittering prosperity, would ultimately transform them from a formidable regional power into an irresistible target for the burgeoning imperial ambitions of European powers. The scent of gold, for centuries a source of their strength, would soon attract relentless predators, leading to inevitable conflict. Chapter 5. The indomitable army. The Ashanti Empire was not forged or sustained by gold alone. Its vast dominion and persistent independence were underpinned by an exceptionally disciplined, strategically brilliant, and truly fearsome military force, a testament to their martial prowess and meticulous organization. Armed with an array of formidable weaponry, from thousands of imported flintlock muskets, whose thunder echoed across the battlefield, and whose acquisition was a strategic imperative, to the traditional, razor-sharp spears, swords, afitna, and bows, the Ashanti warriors were meticulously organized. Their army was structured into highly efficient battalions, each with distinct roles and leadership, and flanked by elite commanders, Okomfo, whose battlefield acumen and tactical innovation were legendary. Every male was expected to serve in the Asofo military company of his village, contributing to a vast reserve of fighting men. Into the maelstrom of conflict, they marched not in drab uniforms, but adorned in vibrant kente cloth. These weren't merely decorative garments, their intricate patterns and vivid symbolic colors, like red for passion and bloodshed, gold for royalty and wealth, green for fertility, and blue for peace, served as powerful symbols of their collective identity. They instilled fierce morale, distinguished different divisions, and, crucially, were believed to offer divine protection and strike fear into the hearts of their enemies. The sight of thousands of brightly clad warriors advancing in coordinated formations was a terrifying spectacle. The Ashanti Army was a marvel of strategic engineering and logistical efficiency, mobile, capable of rapid deployment across vast territories through dense forests, rigidly structured with clear chains of command from the Asanahin down to the unit leaders, and utterly ruthless when the demands of empire necessitated. Their military genius was undeniable, employing tactics like flanking maneuvers, feigned retreats, and swift, decisive engagements. This allowed the Ashanti to relentlessly expand their dominion, conquering rival states such as Guyman, Akim, and Fant, forging a vast confederation. They effectively controlled vital trade routes leading to the coast and across the Sahara, ensuring the free flow of wealth and resources into Kumasi. Yet, despite their numerous, resounding victories against African adversaries, the most brutal, protracted, and ultimately defining conflicts lay on the horizon. These would not be against neighboring kingdoms with comparable armaments, but against an inexorably expanding, technologically superior European power, the British Empire. The stage was set for a series of devastating clashes. where two distinct visions of sovereignty would collide with catastrophic force. Chapter 6. Clash of Empires from the dawn of the 19th century. Starting notably around 1806, the Ashanti found themselves locked in a protracted and increasingly bloody series of conflicts with the formidable British Empire. These were not isolated skirmishes. They were existential wars, titanic struggles for survival, for uncompromised sovereignty, and for the very soul of the Ashanti nation. The motivations for conflict were starkly opposed. The British, driven by insatiable imperial ambition, coveted direct control over the lucrative gold trade and unfettered access to the rich inland markets of the Ashanti interior, viewing the Asante as an obstacle to their economic and political dominance in the Gold Coast. The Ashanti, fiercely independent and proud, were equally resolute in their determination to preserve their ancestral lands, their trade routes, and their sacred way of life, refusing to be subjugated. The Anglo-Ashanti War spanned decades, marked by brutal campaigns and significant casualties on both sides. But the flashpoint that ignited the most famous and culturally significant conflict arrived with explosive intensity in 1900, culminating in what history remembers as the War of the Golden Stool, or the Yaa Asantewaa War. Sir Frederick Hodgson, the then British governor of the Gold Coast, made an egregious demand, utterly oblivious to its sacred significance. During a visit to Kumasi, he publicly insisted on sitting upon the Golden Stool, demanding it be brought forth for him. This was not merely an insult, it was an act of profound, unforgivable sacrilege, a direct assault on the very spiritual essence and collective identity of the Ashanti people. The Ashanti were not just offended, they were consumed by a righteous, incandescent rage, willing to die to protect their most sacred possession. From the town of Igisu, a figure of extraordinary courage and unyielding resolve emerged, Yaa Asantewaa, the Queen Mother of Igisu, with the male chiefs deliberating and seemingly faltering in the face of overwhelming British power. She delivered a thunderous declaration that reverberated through the Ashanti heartland, a defiant call to arms that still inspires generations. If you men of Ashanti will not go forward, then we will. We, the women, will fight. I shall call upon my fellow women. We will fight the white men. We will fight till the last of us falls in the battlefield. Her words ignited a furious rebellion. She rallied her people, becoming the supreme commander of the Ashanti forces in this final, desperate assertion of national pride against the colonial machine. Though the rebellion was eventually tragically suppressed after months of brutal fighting and immense suffering, Yaa Asantewaa's name was forever etched into the annals of history as a national hero, a paramount symbol of unyielding African resistance against imperial oppression. And despite the British military victory and the subsequent exile of Yaa Asantewaa, the Golden Stool itself was never surrendered. It was fiercely hidden by devoted custodians, its sanctity preserved at all costs, a testament to the enduring spiritual fortitude of the Ashanti people. Chapter 7. Colonial imposition. By 1902, the inevitable, though fiercely resisted, had occurred. The Ashanti Empire, despite its valiant and prolonged resistance, was formally annexed into the sprawling British Gold Coast colony. The Union Jack, symbol of imperial dominance, now flew over Kumasi, the erstwhile capital of a proud, independent empire. Their sovereignty was forcefully curtailed. The Asanahin Prempa I was exiled, and direct British administration was imposed. Yet, while their political independence was brutally suppressed, the intrinsic spirit of the Ashanti people proved utterly indomitable. It was never, could never be, truly colonized. Ashanti traditions, their intricate rituals, their vibrant Kwai language, and their profound belief systems did not vanish. They went underground, enduring in secret ceremonies held in hushed reverence, whispered in the comfort of homes, and deeply ingrained within the very hearts and minds of the people. The Odikro chief system, though brought under colonial administration, continued to serve as a vital link to traditional authority, even under the pervasive, oppressive shadow of British rule. The profound reverence for the Golden Stool, the unwavering loyalty to the Asanahin even in exile, and the sacred veneration of ancestors never diminished, never faded. These were the unyielding anchors that held their culture fast, preserving their distinct identity despite external pressures. When Ghana finally achieved its hard-won independence from British rule in 1957, becoming the first sub-Saharan African nation to do so, the Ashanti, with their deep historical roots, their powerful cultural identity, and their highly organized traditional structures, were instrumental in shaping the nascent nation's identity. The return of the exiled Asanahin, Prempeh II, in 1924, though initially as Kumasahin, later as Asanahin, marked a significant step in the restoration of Ashanti pride and influence. Today, the Asanahin, currently His Royal Majesty, Okomfo Osei Tutu, remains a profoundly powerful and globally influential traditional leader, though his direct political role within Ghana's democratic framework is symbolic. Operating within the House of Chiefs, his influence is vast and extends far beyond national borders. He engages in intricate diplomacy, drives crucial development initiatives within the Ashanti region and Ghana as a whole, and fiercely preserves the priceless cultural heritage of his people. He is a living bridge between the glorious past and the promising future, a beacon of continuity and resilience. Chapter 8. Echoes of Gold and Greatness. The Ashanti Kingdom, once a formidable political empire and a beacon of pre-colonial African power, endures not as a territorial state, but as a vibrant, living legacy that continues to shape modern Ghana and resonate globally. Its profound influence permeates far beyond the borders of Ghana, echoing across the African continent and reaching into global consciousness. From the meticulously woven, brilliantly colored kente fabrics with their geometric patterns and symbolic meanings, now universally recognized as iconic symbols of African pride and heritage, to the global recognition of Ashanti artistry in gold, wood carvings and Adinkra symbols, their cultural impact is undeniable and pervasive. Ashanti traditions continue to profoundly shape Ghana's diverse cultural tapestry, from the exuberant national festivals like Akwasidi and Odwira, which celebrate community, harvest, and heritage, to the intricate marriage rituals that bind families and clans, the sacred naming ceremonies that connect children to their lineage and ancestral spirits, and the deep spiritual life that underpins their society, intertwining the sacred and the secular. Gold remains not just a precious metal, but a sacred element, intricately woven into their history, spirituality, and identity. The stool, though often unseen by most, still powerfully rules hearts, guiding decisions through its spiritual authority and embodying the collective soul of a people. In the bustling, dynamic city of Kumasi, the ancient and the contemporary coexist in a mesmerizing dance. The grandeur of traditional palaces like Manhia and the historical remnants of old Kumasi stand proudly alongside the sleek screens of smartphones. Solemn ancient rituals blend seamlessly with vibrant modern politics, and the profound wisdom of respected elders guides the aspirations of a new generation of entrepreneurs and influencers. And always, perpetually, eternally, at the very core of it all, remains the Golden Stool, untouched by foreign hands, unconquered by colonial might, and utterly unshakable in its spiritual power and symbolic significance. Its presence is a silent, yet thunderous, declaration of enduring identity. The British took their land, they exiled their king, they burned their capital, but they never captured the Golden Stool. Hidden, protected, worshipped, the soul of the Ashanti outlasted empires. Today, their gold still shines, their kings still reign, and their warriors' blood still runs hot in Ghana's veins. But this is just the beginning. What African empire defied Rome itself? Which queen led an army of 10,000 women? The next saga drops soon, only on Mr. Africa. Subscribe now. History's greatest untold stories await.